using the mesh feature as you distort an image in Liquify. So the mesh, it's really a series of horizontal and vertical grid lines that are superimposed on the preview window. And we can turn these mesh effects on to see what's happening. We can also modify this mesh display. So let's go ahead and practice with using the mesh. So again, I'm going to double click on my background layer to make it be a layer, a real layer. And I'm going to right click and convert it to a smart object so that my effects are non-destructive. Then I'm going to go under Filter and to Liquify to bring up my Liquify dialog box, making sure that I have advanced mode checked. If I don't, it will look like this. We want to have the advanced mode because this is where we see our mesh. The mesh, remember, is the grid lines. It's like a grid superimposed on my preview window here. So in order to see them, I need to turn the mesh on. Right here in View Options, I'm showing the image, which you kind of have to have. Then I can show the mesh. So I'm referencing in this mesh. And this allows me a little bit better control because I can see a reference point, so to speak. Now my mesh size can be anything from small, which is very small, medium, to large, which gets a little bit big. Now it's hard to see with the picture that I have my mesh color, so I can change this. So again, something that you're going to see easily with what you have selected. Okay, so it all depends on what kind of a picture you're using. I could go with magenta, whatever I wanted to do. I'll go back to red. So this is good for symmetrical distortions because I can really zoom in here and see. I also want to show my backdrop, which allows me to show any kind of companion layers, but it only does distort the selected layer, so remember that. So I can change opacity and all of that if I wanted to see something through. So let's go ahead and practice here. I'm going to zoom in. So again, I could use this zoom tool. I could zoom in down here, or I could use my keyboard shortcuts. And my space bar or my hand, same thing. Okay. Now if I wanted to, I could really make this fish bloat up. I think we're in a little too far. Let's go back. By going to, say, the bloat tool. So with the bloat tool, I can click and see how it kind of increases it here. So if I click closer to the edge, you can see how it's going to bloat. A bigger brush, depends where you click, where it's going to bloat. Okay, so you can see it bloating. Now you can see that with my guidelines, my mesh is sort of distorting as well. So I can see exactly what's happening. In fact, if I click here and bloat, you can see what's happening to that mesh. I'll undo that one with a Control Z. I can also do a forward warp tool here. And remember, depending on how you drag, whether you're going to make your fish skinnier. Let's undo that. A little bit larger brush size, and let's push it out. How cool is that? Okay. If I did too much here, say with the eye, I'm going to go back and revert it. Now if I go back to my push, again, it's pushing the pixels, so it's pushing them to the right as I drag down, it's going to the left as I drag up. So I can really distort my fish here to the point where it's almost unrealistic. And what's happening is because my opacity is set at 46, it's almost appearing as though it's transparent. Okay, see how that's happening there? So we want this to be pretty strong. And then I could do a forward and increase my size and push the whole fish down to make it be larger. That's what it's all about, right? The big fish. So you have to be careful because it does start to look like it's smudgy. Now I could zoom in very close. I'm using my command or my control. And I could do some little tweaks here. You know, I could push some of these little areas out to try to make it look as though I'm little bit straight. See what I'm doing? I'm trying to fix that grid so that that texture of the fish carries through a little bit. Make the fin be a little bit larger. There are some really great videos online with some professionals doing this kind of effect and really making it look good. All right, so if I'm okay with that, let's do a double click on the hand tool to let it be view a little bit of lumpy bumpy, but you get the idea. I click OK. There's my bloated fish. There was my regular, and there's my larger fish. Okay, so there's a way that we can use that mesh feature as a little bit more of a reference point. Good for symmetrical distortions.